was another one of those nights where Brewers got down 1-0, and that seemed insurmountable with the way these guys are hitting as of late. Is this going to get any better for this team? Or are we going to settle for this all year long? This dredge of an offense. Are they going to keep falling further and further under the 500 mark? We get to that next here on Locked On Brewers.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
They've been shut out 4 times so far, shut out back-to-back in Cleveland so far, 2-0 on Tuesday, 3 hits, and it was just awful to watch. Forget about the starting pitching. Quinn Priester, who everybody jumps on, pitched fine. But if you can't score any runs, does it really matter on any of this stuff? And the Brewers now a season low 3 games under the 500 mark. Good to have you along, everybody. Chuck Freeman, Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Longtime sportscaster and long frustrated Milwaukee Brewers fan. Like the rest of us, we're trying to get this team back to the postseason. Just trying to get this team back to scoring a run. I mean, forget about the postseason. How about scoring more than a run? On this road trip so far, they put up a crooked number just once, and that was Sunday when Yelich and Contreras went back-to-back on, you guessed it, solo home runs. And which brings us back to this game here on Tuesday, 2-0. Gave up a home run ball in the first inning, and that was it. 8th inning, Cleveland tacked on another run, but from the start, I looked at the lineup when it came out mid-afternoon on Tuesday. Why is Diaz Cameron batting second? I mean, what's the reasoning behind that? Are you just looking to find something here? Are we just trying to shake the lineup up and see what we can come up with? Diaz Cameron batting second. You got Bryce Terang batting in the 6th hole. He's not a 6th or a 5th. I've seen him bat in the 5th spot already, too. Bryce Terang, please. We love Bryce Terang, but he's not a 5th or a 6th place hitter. You either put him 9th in the order or you put him at the top or maybe in the 2nd spot, but never in the power spot of this order. And maybe that speaks to how bad offensively they are. For the month of May, they're hitting 177. 177. They're 4-8 in the month of May and have fallen 5 games behind the Cubs, which is a season low right now. And there's definitely concern with these guys right now. I think the feeling in the offseason was that, and this is, I'm probably wrong on this, but my feeling is, oh yeah, we lost Willy Adames, but we'll put Ortiz over at short and let's see third. We just got to put a uniform on somebody and have them play third base. That Dunn guy we tried out last year, he didn't work out so much, but he ran into a little back injury. Let's try him again over at third base. Let's who else could put? Oh, this Vinny Capra. Yeah, something about Vinny Capra. Let's give him a shot at third base. Feel that's how it was. They had 6 months to figure this out in the offseason. That's what they settled on. Yeah, this team is poorly constructed in the offseason. And it was such a quiet offseason for these guys. Well, quiet in the sense of obtaining players. Best move they made was during spring training, getting Jose Quintana. But again, pitching's not a problem on this team. Pitching's not a problem. Somebody will say, well, call up Jake Mizorowski. He's throwing 102 miles an hour. He's got the fastest pitch in all of baseball, minors or majors. No, he's not. Pitching is not the problem. Oh, we lost Willy Adames. We never replaced Willy Adames. Lost Burns 2 seasons ago. Christian Yelich batting below 200, having an awful road trip, having an awful season. So many things went right for these guys last year. They overachieved last year. All right. And I said this a long time ago. They were going to win 93 games again this year. They were going to regress a little bit to the mean, and this is what they did. Now, they're only 3 games under. Like I said yesterday, it's not like they're 12 or 15 games under, but they're heading in the wrong direction. They're heading in the wrong direction and sinking like a stone in water. And later on, we're going to make some comparisons on just how bad this offense is. Murphy, after the game, said a couple of intriguing things. Number one, he says his confidence with some of his young guys. He says some of his young guys are losing confidence. And I really hate that word. I really hate when the media will go to a player, well, you've won 2 in a row now. Does this give you confidence that you guys are confidence? Well, Murphy used the confidence word after the game today. He said some of his young guys are not confident. And I agree. I mean, you got to have confidence playing sports. You got to, especially if you're going to hit a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, you better have some confidence at the plate. And he says some of his young guys don't have it right now. And, you can kind of look at the young guys who don't have it. We know who they are. Some of these guys are floundering a little bit, like Frelick and Terang and guys like that. I get it. He says, Murphy does too, that he believes they're going to bounce back. He says, in so many words, you might think I'm crazy, but I think we're going to bounce back from this. They're struggling. 28th in the league in slugging percentage. You could talk all day about not playing with an edge, and some of it's there. Some of it's they're not playing with the edge they did last year. And I don't want to necessarily call it edge. Last year, I mean, how many things went their way last year, right? Anytime they pulled off a double steal, it seemed to work. When other teams tried to pull the wool over their eyes, what happened? It wouldn't work. You'd get late in games, in a tie game, get a runner on second base. You knew that guy was going to score. You went to extra innings. You knew they were going to win the game. They always found a way to get things done, making great defensive plays, sparkling on defense. Sure, the last couple of days has had a forgettable couple of days defensively in center field. But I don't mean to single out him. There's other guys too. But Shurio lately, and then the cries are, well, maybe he needs to stick to the corner outfield. Who else are you going to put in center field right now? They're trying Shurio there. And again, it's not the defense that's really the problem. I talk about that small margin of error. Well, got to hit a little bit better. But last year, they hit cutoff guys. They executed. They laid down bunts when necessary and executed those bunch. The pitching, I thought, was terrific for the level of guys they had on that staff. And I think this one, too. For the level of talent they have on a pitching staff, the pitching staff has just been phenomenal. I mean, Priester goes out and gives him 5 innings. We'll take that. Quintana, you go up and down this roster of pitchers, and they've all done a nice job. But you got to be able to score some runs to win. Got to be able to score some runs to win. This road trip, terrible. Like I said, batting 177 for the month of May. They're lucky they're only 5 games out. Other divisions, yeah, they might be talking about selling. No, we're not at that point yet. Buster Olney, not even close. Do I think they could turn this around? I certainly think they could turn it around. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if it continues to drop, continue to fall through the floor, fall into the basement. I wouldn't know. I'm not this is not figured, not literally falling into the basement. That's going to be the Pittsburgh Pirates for the foreseeable future. But Brewers may join them knocking on that cellar door. I could see that happening, but I could also see them turning it around. My goodness, the St. Louis Cardinals in our division. This was supposed to be a rebuilding year for them. They got rained out in their game against the Phillies on Tuesday, but they've won 9 in a row. I talked a week ago about the Brewers need to go on some sort of run. They haven't gone on that type of run. How are the Cardinals able to win 9 in a row? And the Brewers can't string more than a couple of wins together, if that. Just a terrible road trip. Dropped another series. They keep losing series. They can't win a series. They beat Houston last week. They took the first 2 games against Houston, and then they lost on Wednesday in the final game of the series. But they lost in Tampa. They lost a series to the Cubs. They lost this series already. And, a 4-8 May 4-8 May. But, I mean, maybe we should have seen this happen. You lose Adames. You never really replaced an all-star type shortstop. You lose a Cy Young Award winner, Corbin Burns, 2 years ago. Never really replaced him, right? Although, again, the pitching's not a problem. And Yelly continues to struggle. And Contreras playing with a broken hand. Trying to make things happen. Okay? Trying to go out there and continue to play. Now, after the game, the old closed-door meeting happened with the Milwaukee Brewers. We'll get to that coming up next here on Locked On Brewers. SupplyHouse.com. Guys in my neighborhood use Supply House. These are the guys who make our country run. The tradesmen out there. The guys who go out there in the skilled trades day after day, sometimes 6 or 7 days a week, and get the job done. I've turned them on to Supply House. Whether you're into plumbing, HVAC, electrical work, Supply House, the reliable way to get products online. Easy to use website, helpful resources, complete inventory, over 200,000 parts from over 400 of the top brands. You'll find exactly what you need delivered fast, coast to coast. You need help with an order? Supply House, man, they're industry-leading service work. You talk to a real person. You're not going to get a recording when you talk to them. You're going to get a real person. Their customer service, second to none. And for the trade pros out there, you guys out there looking for that extra edge, like guys in my neighborhood, well, the free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks, dedicated phone line, free shipping, discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals already taking advantage of this. Now it's your turn. Join the Trade Master program today. Supplyhouse.com/TM. Start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use that promo code HS5, 5% off your first order. Supplyhouse.com, supplyhouse.com. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Hey, everybody, get our podcast on Google, Spotify, Apple. Wherever you download your audio podcasts, we're all on there. We're on every platform. We're the #1 Brewers podcast on the internet because of you great Brewer fans out there. And if you're listening to us already on the audio, please go to our growing YouTube page. Our YouTube page, go to YouTube, search Locked On Brewers, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. That'll alert you every time we drop an episode here on Locked On Brewers. We are your team every day. And thanks again for making us your first listen to every day. Well, the Brewers, second time this year, they've held the infamous closed-door meeting. Now, these things, I don't read too much in them. And what sometimes happens, yeah, there might be some short-term success on that. Just like when you fire a manager, sometimes you get the old bumper crop, you get some short-term success. And then everybody looks at, well, hey, that closed-door meeting they had really worked out. I mean, these guys are pros. These guys are professionals. Baseball's not that type of sport. Extra motivation? No. You either can hit the pitch or you can't hit that pitch. Okay? You can't. Nobody goes up to the plate lackadaisical. As Murphy did say, though, confidence. You got to have confidence at the plate. That's like shooting free throws. You got to have confidence shooting a basketball, right? And you got to have some confidence in yourself. But a team meeting, I don't know what those things ever do. My experience in baseball, again, sometimes it works short term. I just think this is a combination of many things. Again, they didn't do a lot in the offseason. Some of these guys, like Yelich and Contreras, even though he's hurt, are not having real good years. And some guys they've counted on are not producing on this team. And some guys who were producing early in the year, Terang and Frelick, well, their numbers starting to slip a little bit. And Garrett Mitchell not part of this team. Okay. Chourio, he's having a nice year. Not great, but a nice year. He recovered after that terrible opening day, and he went on a nice stretch there. But, he's hitting around 260 or so. Not great, but not bad either. But it's a combination. But it certainly is not the pitching. And right now what the Brewers are also doing, though, they are taxing the heck out of their bullpen. In these 1-0 and 5-0 games, they're taxing the heck out of their bullpen. All the relievers they used, and no wins to show for it. No wins to show for it. And that's disappointing. But I do think, well, I don't think Yelich is going to turn it around, but I think he's better than 187. I refuse to believe he's that bad. I think that he is going to get better. I don't know when, but I think he will. Contreras, we'll have to see how he is able to deal with the broken hand, because that thing is not getting any better the more he plays. But there's a core on this team that's not bad. I mean, there's a reason why they won 93 games. Like I said, they played great baseball last year. But they have some talent. Terang, Frelick, Churio. Hoskins not having a bad year, which his power numbers were a little bit better. In general, the power numbers on this team just absolutely stink. I mentioned about their 28th in the league in slugging percentage. The power numbers just bad. But the lineup, I mean, Monasterio, I mean, we wanted Vinny Capra out of there, but Monasterio is the option, and he's not giving them really anything. I mean, he's in the 8th hole right now. And there's an opportunity for anybody, for some playing time. If you can hit, you are going to be able to play. You will find your way into this lineup. But right now, nobody is hitting. Nobody's having a good year. There's not an all-star among these guys on offense. Nobody is having a good year. Some guys started off well, but are regressing a little bit. So those team meetings, yeah, they might come back. Their MO lately, the Brewers, lose the first 2 games of a series, come back and win the last one. Seems like that's been the MO as of late. The Brewers. The old Chuck and Winkler show. Some of you might remember on the old 1250. Once in a while, we would do something. Something is as useless as, and in this case, the Brewers' offense is about as useless. I think we did this once before. Back, a few years ago. But I brought it back today. I was so disgusted. The Brewers' offense is about as useless as blank. A lot of response. Some of these I can read. Some of these I can't. Bud says, about as useless as dreams. Z-Bone says, about as useless as Giannis on the Bucks. Amos, the Brewers' offense is about as useless as a screen door on a submarine. I remember that one. Trevor says, the Brewers' offense is about as useless as a winter coat this week. Talking about the nice weather we had in Wisconsin. Mike says, the Brewers' offense is about as useless as a Brewers team home run derby. Up north says, the Brewers are about as useless as Chuck and Winkler. I don't know. Those awards back there, we won a few first place awards for show of the year in the state of Wisconsin. Well, again, I can't read these next two, and I definitely can't read that one. That's blasting another radio station in town, which I'm not going to do on this. Hartley says the Milwaukee Brewers offense is about as useless as a snowblower in July. MSA says the Brewers offense is about as useless as trying to sell used glue. Can't read that one. Can't read that one. I can't read that one as well. Some of you guys got some clever ones. If you want to read some of those, go to my Twitter account. Tell you about the pitching rotation coming up. What's going on with Jose Quintana? The latest medical problem with the Milwaukee Brewers. We'll get to all that coming up next on this edition of Locked On Brewers. Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. And of course, thanks for making us your first listen to every day here on Locked On Brewers. Couldn't do it without you. Try to drop these in the overnight hours. Most of the time we drop them in the overnight hours. And of course, after the game, most of the time too, I'll try to drop a short 35, 40, 60-second synopsis on the game, or a little opinion, instant reaction, I call it, after the game. Did it on the golf course. Watch the game, get out of here. Wanted to get 9 holes. Brewers had an early start, Milwaukee time, 5 o'clock. So I got to play a few holes. Did my short videos. Just so disgusted in watching that game too. I believe with the Brewers the last 2 days. I mean, this whole road trip basically. We had some nice weather here in the last couple of days. Wasted watching the Brewer game because the Brewers really showed no effort in either one of those games, and we've seen that a few times this year. You guys wanted to see Logan Henderson. He's back, and he's pitching on Thursday afternoon in the noon wrap-up with the Guardians, the final game of this dreaded road trip. Quintana, he got pushed back to Saturday. Now, he's been dealing with some shoulder soreness and some biceps soreness, like some tendonitis in there, it sounds like. But he was talking before the game that he should be okay to pitch on Saturday. So originally Saturday was going to be Brandon Woodruff, and we know he's not going to pitch because of the ankle tendonitis. But Quintana will pitch on cribbage board night on Saturday against the Twins. And the Twins are playing some good ball. I believe they won 7 in a row so far. So Quintana will pitch on Saturday. It doesn't matter really who pitches. Again, if the Brewers don't hit, Brewers don't start scoring some runs. All right, the division right now, the Brewers are 5 games out at 20-23. God, it's painful looking at that, really. It's painful looking at the division standings right now. St. Louis is 23-19, 9 in a row. Some rebuild project they're on. I do think the Cardinals are going to slide a little bit, but who knows with them? I mean, how many times in years gone by have we counted out the Cardinals, and then there they are? So as I've always said, and I said this in the offseason, I'm going to put anything by the Cardinals. But the Brewers have to worry about the Brewers right now. The Cubs have won 2 in a row, but the Brewers can't win a division being under the 500 mark. They can't win a division being at the 500 mark, and they're not going to win this division being only a handful of games over the 500 mark. They got to start winning some games. And it's got to start on Wednesday. I do believe when they turn this around, there's going to be a game. Maybe it's Wednesday. Maybe it's Friday against the Twins. There's going to be a game where the Brewers just bust out, put a crooked number all over the board, and score like 10, 13 runs in a game. That's what happened last year. We've gone through these before. Last year, the Brewers never lost more than 3 in a row, but they bounced back quickly. The Brewers didn't have much adversity last year. I mean, as far as losses and losing skids, right? They were the only team in baseball never to lose more than 3 in a row. And this team right now, knocking on the door of another 3-game losing streak. If they don't win this game coming up, they've lost 5 of 6 so far. And it's bad right now. It really is bad. But I do think they're going to bust out offensively. But they're going through, we've seen this even last year. And last year, when they'd go through these pitiful skids like this offensively, the pitching staff would be so good and they'd find a way to squeeze out a game and win 2-1 or 1-0 or 3-2. You know, like they won on Sunday. They won on Sunday, 4-2 in that final game against Tampa. They find a way, and they're not doing that this year. They're not finding ways to win. When it gets late in games, they're not coming up with this Brewer magic. And they're 8-16 on the road this year. That's got to improve. That's got to improve. They're the opposite of the A's. The A's got the best road record in baseball on the road. The Brewers got the worst road record. And Logan Henderson is going to make the start on Wednesday. And a quick refresher against the A's a couple of weeks ago on a Sunday, he was terrific. Remember, he pitched that one game, and he pitched 6+ innings. And the Brewers took 2 or 3 from the A's. And I think that was like the high point of the season right there. Things were looking good for the Brewers at that point. They sent Logan Henderson down, much to the dismay of everybody out there, because he came up and pitched great. But Logan Henderson, sending him down, Jose Quintana, none of these guys are the problem. Bullpen, none of these guys are the problem. The problem is, if you put up goose eggs every game offensively, you're not winning it. You're not going to beat anybody. That's Cleveland pitching staff. It's not like they're throwing out Charlie Nagy on the hill, right? Remember Charles Nagy, all-star pitcher? It's not like you're throwing him out on the mound. No way. I mean, Cleveland's not a bad team, but they're pitching. These guys are throwing out there. These pitchers aren't great by any means. Not seeing their aces. So hopefully they turn it around Wednesday, and we're not sitting back here talking about a 7-1 loss or anything like that. But I think Henderson will give him a good one. But let's not put all the pressure on him. Got to score some runs. The turnaround's got to start to. You can't fall too far under the 500 mark. And for crying out loud, let's not even talk about this being a lost season. I know some of you guys are already headed down that road, but I'm not there. Far from it. It's going to do it for Locked On Brewers. Again, thanks for making us your first listen to every day. For your second listen to my guy Sully on Locked On MLB. Our MLB game night, our show, late nights, I'm on there, and a few other of us on there. All the guys from Locked On, we have a wrap-up show every night on Locked On MLB. Tune in for that. It's a great show. It's good to do it. Chuck Freeman, Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Talk to you on Wednesday night, everybody.